Everybody, Vasky here. Welcome to another video on Psy, the premier magic slash tech slash oh god why my brain mod 2016. It's still in pre-alpha, but it's still in development, and I've got a lot more stuff done since the last one. As you can see, all the components now have their own textures, and there's even a few new components, like the new ivory and ebony CAD assemblies, which are this one has an old texture. It's already been changed. I just haven't synced yet. And all the CAD cores have new textures, and the batteries, and the sockets, and all that. So let's make one of the best. Let's make the best we can using the pieces we have. There you go. You can see it has a lot of slots. Now one thing you can see in the left that's different from my last video, I have 1600 Psy rather than 200. That's because there is now a leveling system added, which is going to be in by release. And it works like this. When you start off, you're at level 0, and you have 0 Psy. The first time you use a CAD and create some Psy dust, which is going to be something that will be implemented later, it's not in yet, you are going to level up to level 1, and that's going to give you 200 Psy max, which was the maximum I had on my last episode. Now you press C, this menu shows up, and here you can learn all sorts of stuff. So by default you can only learn tutorial 1, which is the first tutorial that has a lot of text, actually quite a lot of text. So you learn this, and you use your point to unlock this stuff. And you unlock the following two pieces. You unlock Trick Debug and Selector Caster. We've seen these in the last video. To level up from level 1 to 2, you have to make a spell that utilizes the piece that is in red, the one that's highlighted. After you make a spell that uses that, you can then level up to the next level. Now level 2, level 3, and once you reach level 5, you can have a few options. So say you pick Entities 101, you have to make a spell with operator closest to point. So you make a spell with that, and you level up. But you can't make a spell with Trick Explode, because that was the one you had on your last level. It has to be the one you just picked. So that's how you level up. Every time you level up, you gain 200 Psy. Right now I'm currently level 8, as you can see, because I have 8 things unlocked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which is the one I can unlock right now. I haven't used my level point yet. So I'm level 8, and I have one more thing I can learn between Blockworks and Projectile Casting. These are both things you get at level 6. I changed them. They used to be level 8, now they're level 6. But, I took all these at level 5, 6, and 7, and then I leveled up to 8, and now I'm 8. And each piece has a requirements. So this one requires level 6 and Vectors 101, which is this over here. And whenever you level up, you can get all these pieces. If you remember from the last video, focal points. If I go into my programmer, you'll see I do not have focal point available because I haven't unlocked it yet. But instead, let's unlock Blockworks, which is one of the most important. This is work in progress, not here yet. And now we have access to a lot more things that we didn't have before, like place blocks or breaking blocks. Now, other than that, there's also the entity stuff over here, which is new. This lets you select entities around and do stuff with them. So we can make a spell that, for example, grabs all nearby animals to the player. Let's go, player, where's the player here? Player. All nearby entities to the player within a radius of 20 blocks. And then it picks a random one, so let's go with the random operator. Right here, random entity from here. And we can then use something like add motion. So we do this entity, like it can be speed 4. And direction can be vector x, y, z. So 0, 1, 0. Yes, we're going to need position. Oh, right, we need to convert this to a position as well. So caster, and take it into a position, which is around here somewhere, I think. Yep, there you go. Now this is going to compile. We see our stats are still here. We have a bigger bandwidth because we are using a better CAD. So let's go move entities, right? Let's grab a bullet. Put it in here. Pick it up, cool. Now, there's no entities around, so let me just quickly go into game mode 1 and grab, some pigs. Sure. When I cast this, a random pig is gonna be thrown into the air. Because we have the random operator. So that's one of the things you can do with entities. You can also use... Where is it? I need to make this a bit bigger right now because it's kind of hard to find something. You can use this one, which gets the entity that's closest to a point. So instead of using random, we can then move this around here. So let's go change this to closest to point. Let's grab a big old connector and it goes all the way from over here. Oh. do here, and move position, target. And that's going to move the one that's closest to me. Move closest. Let's grab a new bullet. Now it's always going to move the closest one, so in this case, it's always going to move this big. Or that one. Oh, that's because I'm still in the random one. Now it moves this one. And if I go over here to this one, it's going to move that one. You can see my psi bar in the right, it's going down, but it's also regenerating faster because I have a higher level. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind that I haven't shown in the last video is if you take damage, you're also going to lose psi reasonably equal to your level, so keep my bar in the right on mind. You can see I lost a bit of psi. I also had a little shatter effect. That's cool. So let's store this, and I'm going to show you guys a few more spells that I have made since then. So these are from the order of least complex to more complex. I have them all in this cat over here, so let's grab it. So the first spell is move to where I'm looking. You know, we've seen something like this before. It just moves me in the direction I'm looking. It's probably going to kill me. Yep, almost. Didn't kill me. But you can see I lost a lot of psi from that. See, whenever I take damage, I lose some psi. The next one is Decapitator. This one makes use of the break block sequence trick, which is one of the blockworks tricks. And this breaks a block starting from a position. So in this case, a raycast. We've seen the raycast last episode as well. Takes a target, which is the vector in which blocks should be breaking in sequence. So in this case, we have a vector that's 8, 0, 0. So it's going to break a 8 high pillar. And we also have a max, which is the maximum amount of blocks the spell is allowed to break. In this case, 8. And if we change this, it's also going to change the potency and cost. So let's go into Decapitator. And let's destroy the 3 over here. You can see the 3 is gone. And let's this one and that one. That's just one of the examples you can do with something like the break block sequence trick. And as you can see, this doesn't use all that much psi as well. Now let's go on to the place line one over here. This one is a bit more complicated. It has a lot more stuff. So it starts by using the place block sequence, which is similar to the break block sequence. It places a sequence of blocks given the vector and the position and the maximum amount allowed. Same thing as a break block. But it uses some other tricks we haven't seen yet. First one is vector axis raycast. Now, you know, raycast lets us get the block in which the player is looking. So if I was to raycast now, it will give me this block, the one highlighted. Axis raycast gives me a vector equivalent to the side of the block. So if I look over here, you will see that I am facing towards negative x. You can see it in the corner. So I would have a vector that would be -1, 0, 0, if I was to use that. What does that mean, you ask? Ignore that. What does that mean, you ask? It means that if I am looking at this block, I am raycasting into this side over here. Now this side is a side that faces towards negative x, as you can see from my debug menu. So if I was to do the axis raycast here on this block, I would get a vector that would be -1, 0, 0, so facing this way. Alright? You can see my little line, the red, is the x. So that allows me to know which direction I should place blocks in. So that's this. So that's this here. Okay. Now we also have this what's called a vector project. This is kind of complicated to explain, so I won't go too much into detail. But you can very clearly see from the image. Imagine the bottom arrow is our axis. So the one we have right here. Imagine the red line, right? So the one coming right from here. I can make a little thing out of wood if you want to see. So this thing over here can be our axis, this wood panel. And you can see I am looking a bit in a directional manner. So imagine I'm here, right? And let me build a wall, a thing that goes till me, right? So I am here, but my vector is kind of the diagonal compared to that block over there. And this is the axis I'm going to want to build blocks around, because that is the side which projects this vector. So a vector projection in this case is going to take my position and is going to project it onto the axis. So if I was to just place as many as possible, let's say I wanted to place 6 blocks, it will place all the way over here. But if I am here and I want to project my position into this vector, then I'm going to be placing blocks into this position over here, because that is the position I am that goes to this vector. I'm not sure if that was very clear, but that is the best I can do when it comes to this explanation. Basically, it places a line until it intersects the player. That's the vector projection. So let's go into place a line. And this is going to place the block right next to you. So I'm going to go into game mode 1. I'm going to give myself some diorite. Or throw it on the floor, sure. It always places the block to the right of the CAD. So let's go over here and make a little wall. Right? That's how it works. It makes a line to where you're looking. If I go somewhere that's kind of diagonal over here, you can see it places it till it intersects with me. Okay, do it over there. Same thing, till it intersects with me. Here as well, just builds one because now it's over here. But if I go down a bit, you'll see now it goes all the way till here. So that's an example of what you can do with place. This is kind of similar to what you have in Fortress Craft or in the Farmcraft Builder Focus. But it's just one thing you can make yourself, not just have the code for it be there. So that's how you can use Axis Raycast. Let's look at this big old thing here, okay? This is the 3x3 break. I'm going to demonstrate it first because I think you guys can all figure out what it does. You can just go to a wall over here. It is a 3x3 break, alright? I think everyone gets that one. So, now that you know how that works, let me explain to you how I coded it. It's a big mess. So, let's start by telling you guys that we have 3 break block sequences, okay? Very simple, they all have a length of 3. I think you can understand why that's going. It's just a vector that's 3 long. And you have 3 of them, so it's going to break 3 vectors, 3 things. So 3 lines of 3. So a 3x3. Let's start off with the top. We have a vector raycast that very simply gets where you're looking at. Nothing too crazy here. We have an axis raycast, which gets the side we're looking at, also very important. Then we have the cross product, which we showed on the last video, gives us a vector that's perpendicular. So we can use that to go to the left. We then sum that vector that is perpendicular to our axis. So if we have something like this here, and we're looking here, if we look to this side, our vector is going to be like this, so that's our axis, right? If we use the what's it called? The cross product, we are going to get something that ends up here. So we want that. We want the one right on the left, so we can then make the vectors that go to the right. Okay? So then we sum that vector to our raycast to create where we should start breaking. So we should start breaking here, right? Then, what we pass on to our block sequence, this subtracted by 1y. So it goes here. Starts here then. It subtracts it by this vector that has 1y. So you can see the subtract here. Then it passes on to the block break sequence. So we start here. Then we do the same thing here, but we sum the vector, so then we start here. And for this one, we sum the vector again, so now we are starting here. Okay? Now I moved this over here. I could have had it over here. I originally had it over here, but if we have it over here, the bandwidth is going to be 9, and if the bandwidth is 9, when we go back here, we are absolutely going to need this thing over here. The one I had here. This one has bandwidth 8. The one I used for the socket has bandwidth 9. So I made this one bandwidth 8 so I can use it with any of the tier 3 sockets, not just the one that has bandwidth 9. So that is how we get our positions to break blocks from. Now, how do we get the vector to break blocks towards? Well, that's this vector over here. This vector, well, we already know what the cross product is, which is the one that goes over here, so it's 1 to the left. So all we do is take that vector and multiply it by -3, so it becomes 3 to the right. So this is the vector we should break on, and we're going to break from here, here, and here. And that is our 3x3. We do that, and then we just pass it along to all our 3 break block sequence operators, tricks, and now we have a 3x3 block breaker. Now this doesn't work vertically yet, because it's just coded to be horizontal. But if we do it right here, you can see it absolutely works wonders vertically. So if you're going to creative, game mode 1, you'll see I am going to get a lot more psi. I'm going to get a total of 2000 psi right now, because that is the current level cap. The current level cap is 10. If you're going to creative mode, everything unlocks. The current level cap is 10, and of course you get 200 psi per level, so it's 200. I am thinking I want to go to level cap 20 by the time the mod releases. I'm not sure. That's what I have in mind right now. So you will have available 4000 psi usage. And that is what I got right now. That is what I got. These haven't been changed at all. The projectile bullets aren't yet. These whoopcast bullets aren't in yet either. There's a few other things. There's... what else was there? Projectile casting actually shown it already. There's a bunch of other tricks. You can just place a single block, or you can break a single block. And with the entity stuff, you can Gradientity's motion, do all that stuff. There's plenty of things that are in here already, and plenty that are also going to be coming. I have a big list of tricks I'm going to add. But this should give you a good enough of an example of all the crazy things you will be able to do with the mod once it's out. Alright then, well, I'll be seeing you. Bye!